I felt really inspired to share this video with you today about how to find your M spot. I actually had a bunch of other work that I was supposed to do, and it's really relevant to this topic of finding your M spot because it was work that it's on my task list. But the M spot, it's finding, dialing in to your unique, your signature affluence frequency. And so when I think about M spot, it's around money, it's around mindset, it's around your message and how you're showing up in the world. And I've actually been obsessed with this idea of finding your M spot. And if you know, I'm playing on words and it's actually very connected to this idea of finding your G spot. So if there's any kids, if you're under 18 or 13 and you're not open to this, just turn this off, show your parents, and you don't have to watch this. This idea of finding your M spot, it's very similar to this idea of finding your G spot. It's like if you're able to, and there's probably a very small percentage of people on the planet that really know this, that when you know where your G spot is, when your partner knows how to caress and how to hold that there, that it's actually a button. It's actually a portal that connects you to your higher self. It connects you to your goddess energy. It connects you to your confidence and the work you're here to do in the world. And most people just have this sort of mediocre, mundane sex, and they think, oh, great, orgasm, I'm done. And there is a higher level, right? And it's the same thing with the M spot. So the M spot, I think about this book. If you have any questions, you can post it below. I'm playing with this idea, and I'd love to hear your comments about this too. So, the M spot. Do you know this book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich? And he talks about, as you're creating wealth, that when it finally arrives, it feels like the floodgates opened, and you wondered where it was this whole time. Right? It's that feeling. And if you've talked to other entrepreneurs that, maybe they've got a 7-figure business, multi-7-figure business, or whatever it is that they're creating in the world, and they'll also, I've interviewed I'm obsessed with this idea of success, and how do you get in that frequency? How do you maintain that? How do you connect to that M spot so that that's what you're seeing in your life? That's what you're consciously creating. There's that synchronicity, there's that flow, right? And so you see a lot of other people that are struggling. Life is hard. I've got to work. They're living in this sort of linear time. That's not what I'm interested in. That's not what we're talking about today. What we're talking about is that M spot. What's that M spot for you that when you plug into that frequency, a portal opens and you're seeing flow in your life, the synchronicities, you're meeting the right people, it's fun, that you're living this life full of flow and full of joy. And so the M spot, first of all, it stands for money, because I do believe it's not all about money, but money is a signal of the vibration that we're hanging out on, right? And so it's just giving us feedback where we're at, right? It has to do also with mindset, with how we're thinking, how we're showing up in this world, how we're looking at solutions, right? Yes. And it has to do with also, for those of us that are, if you're an entrepreneur, it's also has to do with our message. And when it's, Rachel says it's a signal, the vibration. Yes, awesome. Yes. With our message, when it kind of just all gets aligned, right? It all just clicks in and it makes sense. It's like, you've got it. And so humor me for a moment as I play with this analogy of the G spot, because if and I see there's women here that are watching, and if there's men that are watching this also later, you can fumble around. You could read a book. You can think that you know what the G-spot is, and most likely, you know, like 95% chance that you don't. Now, I know actually a couple, because I know Rachel's one of my sisters, so I'm sure that you do. But it's this idea that when you finally know, and you might have to like tinker around and figure out what is it, and when you finally learn, and when you finally surrender, when you finally well, we're talking about, Kristen said, should I turn this down? When you finally surrender, when you finally let go of the ego and all the thoughts are saying, you know, you're going to die. You're going to die. I got to pee. You can't do this. You can't let go. And when you finally let all of that go and surrender completely, that's that G-spot. You can see I'm like playing with my hands right now. That is that 30-minute G-spot orgasm that connects us to our higher self. And it is not so different when we're talking about the M-spot, when we're talking about getting in that frequency where it's just sort of like a tipping point. You start to see, like, you'll know that you're in the M-spot by looking at what's showing up in your life, looking at like all the co-creative opportunities, looking at the miracles, just all that like little evidence starts to like cluster, kind of like a snowflake gets into a, you know, creates a snowball. So that's the M-spot. But how to find it? First of all, it's all energy. It's all energy. And if you're not getting the results that you really desire, that you know, first of all, it's got to be aligned with the work you're here to do. I believe it has to be connected right here. And often, so many of us have been programmed. You know, maybe you're a doctor, you're a professional, or actually I see a lot of here that are here watching right now that you are all on purpose and you're doing the work that you were called to do. But for some of you that are watching, maybe you're not yet, and you're just, I know that was a wake-up call for me. I thought I wanted to be a professor. And I love teaching, so I'm still in that profession today. But I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I was doing it because, well, frankly, I was scared. I was scared to go out and get a real job because I went from stripper, and then I went to school. And actually, I spent some time also, I waitressed also. And I made good money in that profession. And then I went to school, and I loved books, and I loved being a scholar. But then it was like scary, like, okay, what do you do after that if I don't go back to this line of work? And so that kind of like what led me. And I was, you know, being a professor was a respectable job. I mean, what about this job? Being an affluence coach, energy healer, talking about G-spots and M-spots, like for some people it might not be respectable, it might trigger you. So I had a block about that. And so I kind of like deviated. I was on a path that I thought, you know, I thought that was my next step. And, you know, it was part of my journey. It's part of the story that I tell today. But if you dial in and connect to your higher self, when you connect to your intuition and just ask. So here, to find the M-spot, one thing is just notice your heart. Notice what lights you up. Notice what brings you joy. Notice when there's that expansion. So before I did this video, I went surfing this morning for a couple hours. And for me, surfing, there's probably never any income flow. Actually, I won't even say that, no, because I'm actually planning a multi-dimensional retreat with some major surfing and mindset, and really confronting and dispelling the things that hold us back. So so yeah, talk to me later in the next 6 months, and you'll be hearing about that. So how I'm going to integrate my love of surfing. But right now, it's not. I'm not a professional surfer. I'm not a coach, surfing coach, and and thanks, Kristen. Love it. I love you too. But I know that for me, like, you're here. If you're watching this, because there's something about this energy and this vibration that you resonate with it. And so if I'm just like doing my work, starting work at 9 o'clock and doing all the things that I'm supposed to do because someone told me I'm supposed to do this, not very attractive. Not very attractive. It's energy. Everything is energy. So like, what brings you joy is first of all, like, and really putting that first. Meditation. I love these like M's from M's for connecting. That meditation is really important for finding the M spot, and doing the things that bring us joy. Another thing is it is mindset. It's knowing. It's creating first spiritually what you desire, and locking in to that frequency. And that's been one of my gifts. One of my gifts is that I just have done naturally. I actually did it when I was a stripper. I didn't know that I was working with light and with energy. And yes, I had a lot of self-esteem issues and a lot of blocks during that phase of my life. But I knew there was just something that I was doing with energy, even though I wasn't conscious of it. And I would walk around the room, and men would just give me their money, and I was, ego. I was like one of the top. I would always be one of the top girls in the room because I knew how to smile and just work with that energy, and so it's energy. It's energy, like what you're creating. It's locking into it, and then asking like what is out of alignment right now? What are the beliefs that I need to stay in alignment, to make this happen? And so that was kind of, because I'm a wordsmith with a Ph.D. in English, I loved words, and I also just love the kind of finality of you're either aligned with what you desire or not. And I would say 90% of the people that I talk to will share with me what their dream is. Maybe you want to meet the love of your life, or maybe you want to create the successful multi-six-figure company. And most people are not aligned. Like, their energy actually goes weak. If I were to hand you, say that you want money, or that you want to meet the love of your life, and I swear to you that if I were to bring that partner, that perfect ideal mate right in front of you, your energy would go weak, because you have blocks that are actually repelling, whether it's like I'm not worthy and deserving, that I can't trust, I've been betrayed before, like whatever it is that we have these programs. And so we're going around thinking like, I want more love, or I want to do the work that I'm here to do and make more money. And yet we have these programs running us. We're just uber sophisticated biocomputers. And so that's been my gift, is being able to, first with myself, I would not be here living the life that I live if I had stayed at that vibration, if I had stayed with those beliefs. And sure, there's a lot of people that, can go to a mindset coach, or like somehow they just get it, right? And they're able to shift their beliefs. That wasn't me. I had a lot of trauma and shame, and I just had a lot more baggage. And so thank goodness that we can release it. and that's what I do through the Affluence method. I mean, what I found is that when you can dial in and diagnose, I mean, to the T, what are those beliefs that are holding you back, flip them, reintegrate, and then connect to a new belief, you shift. You shift. And what you notice is that you don't have the same triggers anymore. And so what can take someone, 5 years, 10 years to get what they want, they see that within a year or less, depending on this gestation, because they're aligned with it. So what I'm sharing with you, this like how to find the M spot, it's following your joy, and then it's also like tuning into your energy. What are the blocks? What are those limiting beliefs that are holding you back? And then finding a way, and yes, there's plenty of other modalities that you can explore and find. I have found that the Affluence method is the fastest. I'm super fast. I have the energy of a supernova, and I just don't like to sit around and wait. And I remember I first learned the tapping, the emotional freedom technique, and I'm grateful for it because it introduced me to energy work. I wouldn't have been open to it, but it was so slow. It's like you clear like one thing in like one session, and so I just love to be able to run a program and take like all these limiting beliefs and just clear them in 10 minutes or in 30 minutes, and then you shift. And then what you notice is that if I have a client right now that had a couple not so good relationships, not really winners, and as she released the blocks, she's getting married in October, and she's doing the work that she's starting to do the work that she really loves. So all these things happen as you release the block. So it's called the Affluence method. And Lucia asks, how do you do it? Okay, great question. So the how is, I'll explain more as metaphor. It's kind of like this, Lucia. If you were to give me access to your computer, now I'm not a techie person, but I know if you, let's say I was a computer technician and you gave me access to your computer, and you could be in Costa Rica somewhere or some other country, and through the internet I'm able to look in and see what viruses do you have, what malware is going on, do you need to be defragmented? Is there just so many, all these programs and everything that you're just running and it's slow? It's just slow. It feels hard. And so my gift is being able to read your energy and to find out what is at the root of it. Like to read the energy, find out what are those limiting beliefs, what's going on, are there some deeply entrenched programs, do you have some like habits, are you attached to an old story? That I have to work really hard to make a lot of money, that I have to justify. Like we have all these programs that are running through us. And so that is my gift, is in a very short amount of time, people will say, you must be psychic. Like, how did you know all of this? I'm just reading your energy. I don't really like the word psychic. There's a lot of like mysticism to it. It's energy. If you get on the phone with me and you show up, oh, there's my dog Zelda. If you get on the phone, I can feel your energy if you're not telling the truth. If you're saying everything's good and it's really not. Or if you're angry, or if there's rage, or you actually really have a lot of shame still in your energy field. It's just in your field. And actually we all have that gift. We all are wired to know. I believe that's just been one of the gifts that I've had. I had a lot of blocks. And so I think it's also just because I had a lot of blocks and I was obsessed with clearing them, getting rid of all this baggage, I've been able to assist others with that. And it's cool that you asked, Lucia, because I teach the actual method, the Affluence method, at our retreat here in Costa Rica. So it's the Affluence Method Certification Retreat. I train Affluence Coaches because what I found is that my life, my clients manifest the life they desire in such a shorter amount of time because they find that M spot. Because they're able to, like, on a daily basis, look at what are those limiting beliefs, what are those emotional blocks, and then integrate, release them, and then they're able to be open to that opportunity. So I'll share with you, like, so for me, even as I've grown my business, even as I went to school, I had some outward self-esteem because, you know, I got these different degrees and like I really didn't know I could do this. I didn't know and so, but even with all of that, I still had shame. I still had a lot of blocks. And so I'll just give you an example, and you can share with me if this rings true for you, for if anyone that's watching can relate to this. I can remember like going to a live event where there's like all these other successful entrepreneurs, and I say that, you know, I want to meet really cool people that I look up to and that I want to create this. And this is several years ago. I would not, like if there was a famous author or a famous celebrity, I'm the person that would never go up to them. Like, because I had some sort of like belief where I either put them up here or just the ego. And so, and I had this like underlying block of shame. Like I'm feeling, even though on the surface it looked like, you know, I'm not going to blare it. Now I do to the universe because I don't care. I don't have that filter anymore. But having that program, feeling that I'm not enough, or that others are better or whatever. So that was limiting me. That was limiting me from opportunities. And the truth is, we're all the same. We're all human. We all have to use the bathroom. We all want to be loved. We all want to have amazing sex. I think we all do. We're all human. And so those are just beliefs that I was putting, that like there was a filter that was preventing me from connecting. And so I noticed that. I noticed that there was a trigger, and through the Affluence method, I released it. And so what happens is I am super fiercely committed and obsessed with releasing blocks and connecting myself, because I'm on this journey, and you with the highest version of yourself. And that it doesn't have to take 10 years. Like, you can seriously step into that version of yourself over the next 6 months, year. I mean, I've had clients say that working together was equivalent, in 1 year was equivalent to 30 years. And that's my mission. That's my mission, because there's an urgency. It's like, why wait so long? You want love? Get aligned with it. Like, let's go to town, sister. Let's clear the blocks and get aligned with your vision. Get the mentorship, step into that vibration. I hope you can, as you're hearing me, I'm holding a vibration. And what it is that when you listen, it feels good because you're remembering. You're remembering who you are. You're remembering how powerful you are as a creator. You're remembering what is possible. And so we get stuck in this little like, okay, this is how it has to be, and I got to work really hard, and it's exhausting, and this is just, you know, I have to have these people in my life, or these employees, or this kind of partner. Like, we settle. We settle. And so when you're in this vibration, what I'm reminding you, you don't have to settle. You are divine. That is a limiting belief, and you can release it. You can release it in a nanosecond. And you can, one by one, consciously construct the reality that you desire, whether it's around love, whether it's around a business, not just a business making money, but a business that just lights you up, a business that's like your baby, a business that 20 years from now, you're able to look at it, that you're not just selling your soul, that you're not giving away the best part of your life, that it's like it just creates. And so that's why I surf every day. It's so important. Our energy is the most important thing to manage. And so finding the M spot, I see some of you are just like popped on right now. As saying earlier, finding the M spot's a lot like finding the G spot. It's when you're able to get into that unique, that's your signature affluence frequency, you don't have to work so hard. You don't. You are magnetizing people to you because you're in your flow. You're in that place of joy. You are living so authentically. And so that's why first things first, find your M spot. It is the most important thing that you can do. So here's the thing. The cool thing is that you don't have to look outside. Like, I'm representing a vibration for you right now. But you don't have to look outside. You have the answer on what that is. Like, you have like how your body registers, what brings you joy, what lights you up. Even if you notice, like if you're watching this and there's things that you're seeing that you love, that's giving you feedback. The universe is giving you feedback. I have a client that when we first talked a year and a half ago, she wanted, actually no, it's close to 2 years now, she wanted to move to Costa Rica. And so, you know, a year later, things got in alignment, and she's living in Costa Rica. She's doing the work. Like, there was all this like stuff that she had to like take care of, and as she released it, she was able to do that. So the thing about, hi Mariana, so glad you're here. We're talking about how to find your M spot when you're so in alignment. When you're so, so Ram asks, how can I find my M spot if I'm a guy? Okay, we all have M spots. So I'm playing with words because we're talking about comparing the G spot, which is something that most people don't really understand and have really accessed. And that when you do access the G spot, it connects you to your higher self. It's actually like, you know, the world has kind of just like jilted us when it comes to sacred sexuality and what's possible. And when we are connected to, when we experience 30-minute G-spot orgasm, our brain is completely lit up, and we surrender. We surrender. So, okay, so you know, good. So the M spot is, it's also a frequency. And I would say for you too, when we're finding our M spot, it is about surrender. So many entrepreneurs, if you're an entrepreneur, professional, we live in our ego. We think that I have to control this. I got to get all these details arranged before I can, you know, take this action. And that is not true. That is not how you find your M spot. You find your M spot through trust, through turning it over to your higher self, to staying open to possibilities, to setting that intention and say like, okay, I don't see it right now because I know I'm in my human self, but I'm going to stay open to the possibility because I know that this is a vibration. Because the thing is, everything is energy. And when you can match that vibration that you're creating, when you stay tuned in to this vibrational frequency, it is inevitable that you start seeing experiences in your life. Like, it is inevitable. It has, because it's a universal law. It's just how it is. But what happens is that you may, for instance, maybe you go to a yoga session, or you do something that you're feeling good. Maybe you listen to some Abraham Hicks YouTube video or something that you're like, yes, I feel abundance. Yes, I am abundant. I love myself. I can do anything, right? You're saying that, and then the next minute your thought goes to, I can't afford it. Or your thought goes to something that, like, you're attached to a limiting belief. And so one of the things that I teach is that the only time you can say, in my world, this is my rule, which I'm sharing with you because this is how you find the M spot. The only time you can say, I cannot afford that, is when you're talking about a limiting belief. I cannot afford that. I cannot afford that. Or when you're talking about hanging out with others that are lowering your vibration, that are gossiping, that are judging, that or watching the news. Like, I don't watch the news. I cannot afford that. So say that after me. Watching the news. I cannot afford that. If it's watching a certain television that's lowering your vibration, I cannot afford that. So it's really important to connect, because we're working with energy. Everything has to do with our vibrational frequency. So I was sharing for something that you just that popped on is what I've learned in how I have catapulted, really stepping into our dream. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy right away. We had limiting beliefs. I thought it had to be a certain way. And so what I found is that I released those limiting beliefs, like on a daily basis. I made sure, and this is what I do with our clients, is, let me see, wait, Okay, am I still here? Okay, good, yay! Somehow, I lost you guys for a second, so good, still worked. I see Mark's on there. Yeah, that's when you say I cannot afford, because this is the thing. We create through energy. And so you think in your mind, you imagine, you connect to that vibration, the emotion, you feel the gratitude, the joy, the excitement, whatever it is, you create that vision. So let's say you have this vision of where you want to be in the next 5 years or in the next year. Like, honestly, for me, I'm not that way anymore, but when I was first starting out with a lot of this, I could only think like 6 months in advance. I was that blocked. Like, if I thought too big, like, I would just shut down and I would get paralyzed. And so you conceive. It's energetically. You lock into that vibration, right? And you feel the emotions of what it is that you're creating. And then you ask your higher self, you ask your intuition, your angels, God, whatever it is with your spiritual belief system, it's all accessing divine intelligence. What is the next step? What is the next step to stay in alignment with this vibration? So when I first started my business, I shared that I was a prosperity intuitive. Now, I had debt. I was still working through my money blocks, and yet I could teach this with integrity because I was connected and locked into the vibration of what I was creating. And so one of the things, like, I see too for like entrepreneurs, if you're starting out or even if you're like going to the next level, we hold ourselves back because we think, well, I just got certified, but I don't have like all this experience yet, or whatever it is. And so, we undercharge, or we hold ourselves back. So this will actually help you circumvent this, because when you understand vibration, when you understand vibrational frequency, when you lock into that vibration of what you're creating, and it's connected, this is from your heart, this is an alignment, this is what you're here to do. It's not from a place of ego, but this is so on purpose. When you lock into that vibration, then you can speak from that vibration. Let me share that again. When you lock onto that vibration, it's like when you connect to your future self, because there really is no time and space. That's a human construction. So when you connect to that vibration of who you are becoming, you lock in, you commit to it, you feel the gratitude, the excitement, the confidence, whatever it is that represents that scene for you. And I recommend envisioning something. Sometimes we get stuck because we think it has to be like, I have to have all these details. And I'm not super visual. I'm more actually with words. I love words, but so it doesn't have to be like that. Like this house I envisioned. And I didn't know there's like an infinity pool. I think you guys can see here, if some of you guys are new here, kind of like point out here. You can see the ocean out there. And I'll kind of go slower here. I didn't know all of that, right? When I first, I did, like all the details. I didn't even know it was in Costa Rica. But I knew the vibration, that there was a lot of light and laughter here, that there was freedom. I could hear the ocean, because that was really important to me. I could hear the waves, which we could hear at night. And there's a lot of light, like all these windows open up and just lots of air here. When I got to this house, like I knew Like this was the house. And, you know, it's not exactly on the beach. It's like, we see the ocean, but it's about 1.5 miles. We're up on a hill overlooking the ocean. And so I'm sharing that because you don't have to know the exact details. Yeah, exactly. You just feel the feeling. Exactly. And so that's the first. You lock into that frequency. The second part is, what is the next step? What is that next step that I must take to stay in alignment with this vibration? And so, this is why this is important, because many of you, I see this all the time. You'll say I'm abundant, this is what I'm creating, and then the next thing you do repels it. The next thing, the next action you take, the next thought that you lock into, and I'm not saying just any old thought, because I have negative thoughts. I mean, we're not, that's so beautiful how much grace there is in the universe. It's not we have to have like 100% positive thoughts, but it's like, what are we locked into? What thought am I going to connect to and say and make this a story about myself? So what's the next action that you're taking that's in alignment? As long as you take action in alignment for that day. So one of the exercises that I share with clients is to write. Like, you can write a letter to your angels. Maybe if you're not hearing, if you don't have that direct voice from higher self, write a letter to your angels and just brainstorm, kind of free write. You'll start to see the pattern. This is the next step. And usually, like, I used to, when I first started out, I would write down like a whole bunch of different thoughts of things I need to do, and then I would go back and circle it. And what I share in the Affluence method, it's energy work, it's clearing the blocks, it's getting to the root, how to release those blocks, how to unhinge, how to release generational patterns, and it's more than that, because I see so many, and maybe some of you guys can relate, so many people that are in the spiritual world that are healers, that are spiritual coaches, that know about energy, and yet they're still struggling. They're still broke. They're not in that place. Like for me, I was able to build, and I had gone from, when I was a graduate student, I made like $10 an hour. So it was a big jump to go from that, you know, $12,000. I think my fellowship at the university was $12,000 or something like that for a year. To go from that to creating a 6-figure business within 7 months. And yes, I followed a strategy. Yes, I followed a strategy, but I was with a group of 100 other women, and they did not get those same results. And it's not because I'm so special, it's because I worked with my energy. It's because I knew how to release those blocks and fine tune, and how to work with energy to manifest the results we desire. And so that's what I teach in the Affluence method. It is super powerful. And for a long time, I was working with clients one-on-one, working with clients in my group coaching program, and then I would have my clients ask me. And so I'm glad, Lucia, when you're asking like exactly how do you do it, it makes more sense to come here, to come and enjoy Costa Rica. We have a retreat where we deep dive, where you acquire the entire toolkit, and releasing your blocks along the way, and getting to experience this lovely Costa Rica. And it actually, so I wasn't like just woke up one day and said, okay, I want to do this Affluence method certification retreat. I was asked. I kept on getting asked, and then as we grew, I also needed to train Affluence Coaches for our group program. So that's kind of how it was birthed. And recently, what I was guided is that this is how you facilitate the awakening of this planet. Because I'm just one person, right? You're plugging into this vibration. I'm one person, and how much more empowering to give you the tools, to teach you, to make them your own so that you can release the blocks on a daily basis, so that you can share that with your daughter, with your partner. You can say, oh, I feel like you're stuck about this. Like my daughter, not so long ago, there was some riffraff, middle school things going on, and most of the time you just think, okay, that's the way it is. But no, we are able to look back and say, okay, what are the beliefs that are creating that friend or those friends coming up that way? And so as we unpacked it, as her mother cleared the blocks, created a new energetic pattern, now things are smooth. So how amazing is that, to have that tool in your pocket at any time, any day? On the plane, I'm on the plane and there's a little baby crying all the time, right? And I'm feeling for the mother, because I know that, like, at least for me, that would have really stressed me out. And, it's a small baby, and the baby's distressed. And to be able to send that energy and to clear what's going on, if that child, that spirit wants to accept the work, but just out of love, to clear some things, some beliefs that are going on, that, like, this baby wasn't feeling like her needs were being met. She wasn't being heard, right? And to clear some of that so the baby could calm down and we could continue on the flight. So it's just a super powerful tool, the Affluence method, to have. And how amazing to be able to share that, to have a tribe of affluence coaches, that you're able to work with your clients and get better results. Because one of the things that I find, like, in coaching, like, I had a client who just asked me, she's like, do I need to get certified? There's all these, like, coaching, life coaching, different certifications. And if you have that certification, awesome, awesome. I came through this differently. I came through this through my own having, what I joke, having so many blocks, studying. My scholarly expertise is on intergenerational memories, looking at trauma and how do we heal from that. And so that was my entry point. And what I found is I can get on the phone with anyone and know what are their limiting beliefs. I can feel their energy, and they can say to me, oh yes, I've got this deal coming through, I've got this going on, and I can feel that they're not aligned with it, that's bullshit. And so it's so powerful to be able to read energy, and not only read them, but to reboot the operating system and get them in alignment. And so part of my mission, I am here to awaken the planet. I don't say that from a place of ego. It's just what I've been told. I'm here to facilitate that. My life was preserved multiple occasions. I should not be alive. And because I was in some very dark places when I was younger. And through divine intervention, I am still here. And so I do have that urgency, and I can't do this all alone. So if you feel inspired to gain these tools for yourself, to become an affluence coach, to join our tribe, to join this movement, the more of us that have these tools, you're able to shift your children, to help them get connected more quickly to their life purpose, to help them release the blocks that are holding them back, because those are just limiting beliefs. I can remember one of my children was playing soccer, and he had made a comment to my mom, that he used to not be that good in soccer, but he's getting better. And I was like, he's actually pretty good in soccer. So I was like, what is that belief? And so I started to just go back and look at what are the beliefs that were running his operating system. And there were some limiting beliefs. And as we actually I did this during a game, and he had the best game ever. I mean, he was super aggressive, right in the middle of it, and the parents were noticing it because of this affluence method. So I believe, Lucia asked, when's the retreat? It's May 10th through the 13th here in Costa Rica. So you get to partake of this beautiful country. And just being here ungunks you. I mean, you shift so much, just the jungle, just the vegetation. So And you can use this if you want to build your own coaching practice and have a location-free practice that you don't have to be like, you know, I have a lot of friends that are Reiki healers or that do a lot of things that are one-on-one, and my gift is knowing, if you tell me this is my dream, this is my vision for my life, it's very finite. Are you aligned with it or not? Let's find what are those beliefs, shift the subconscious programming, create a new energy pattern so that you get results. So that's kind of the yin and the yang. Make sure oh my gosh, I actually have to go. I have a client right now. So I'm going to get off the phone or get on the phone and speak to my client, sending you all so much love. It's called the Affluence Method. If you're interested, put yes, tell me more, or actually just put Costa Rica in the comment, and I'll PM you and we can have a conversation. I'm inviting you to the Affluence Method certification retreat. We need a tribe. The world needs a tribe of affluence coaches we are facilitating the awakening on this planet. Bye, buddies. Love you too. Love you too. Have an amazing day.